One stormy evening in Tarapith, the sacred land of the fierce mother goddess Tara, Mahaguru Bamakhepa, the revered tantric master, sat in deep meditation inside the cremation ground. The air was thick with the scent of burning incense, mingling with the distant echoes of Aghori chants. The flames from the pyres flickered wildly, casting airy shadows around the sacred space. Suddenly, through the howling wind, a desperate voice called out, breaking the intensity of the moment. "Gurudev! Gurudev! Save me!" A disheveled man, Sushanto Mohan Biswas, a local villager, fell at Bamakhepa's feet, trembling with fear. His face was pale, his eyes bloodshot with sleeplessness. Bamakhyapa slowly opened his eyes, their fierce glow piercing through the darkness. He looked at the man before him, his voice calm yet commanding. "Why have you come here in such a wretched state, Sushanto?" Sushanto, still panting, clutched the Guru's feet tighter. "Gurudev, I have committed a terrible mistake. I was blinded by greed and power. I sought control over others using Tantra Vidya, but now it is consuming me." Bamakhepa's gaze remained steady. He already knew what had happened but let the man confess his folly. Sushanto continued, his voice shaking. "A wandering tantric, claiming to be a siddha, came to our village and offered to teach me the Vashikaran Mantra, the art of controlling minds. He said that if I performed certain rituals at midnight, I could gain control over anyone, my enemies, my debtors, even the landlord who had seized my lands." Bamakhyapa listened in silence, his presence alone exuding an otherworldly energy. "At first, I hesitated," Sushanto admitted, "but the desire for power clouded my judgment. I began the rituals, drawing the yantras, chanting the mantras, making offerings as he had instructed, but something went horribly wrong. The air around them seemed to grow colder as he spoke. Gurudev, instead of gaining power over others, my own mind is slipping away. I hear whispers in the wind, shadows move even when there is no light, and at night, a dark figure sits at the foot of my bed, staring at me with fiery eyes. I have not slept for days. I feel as if my soul is being torn apart." Tears streamed down his face as he begged, "Please, Gurudev, save me. I will renounce all these desires." Mahaguru Bamakhepa sighed deeply, the weight of eternal wisdom resting upon his shoulders. "Sushanto," he said, his voice now resonating with both authority and compassion, "Tantra is not a gain for the foolish. It is not meant for petty gains, nor for bending the world to your will. It is a path of devotion, surrender, and deep self-purification." The wind howled louder as the flames around them danced wildly, as if resonating with the Guru's words. "You sought to control others, but now you are the one being controlled. When you play with powers you do not understand, they turn against you. Do you think the universe will allow you to manipulate life without consequences?" Sushanto nodded weakly, his arrogance completely shattered. Bamakhyapa continued, his voice filled with divine fire, "Tantra is not black or white. It is the intent behind it that defines the outcome. When used for selfish and harmful purposes, it attracts dark energies that latch onto your very soul. These energies will not leave you easily, because you have invited them into your existence willingly." Sushanto's body shook with realization. He had not just endangered himself, he had opened doors that were not meant to be opened. "The path to redemption, Gurudev," he whispered, "is there any hope for me?" Bamakhepa's gaze softened. "Hope always exists, but the path to redemption is not easy." He handed Sushanto a small Rudraksh mala and instructed, For the next 40 days, you must renounce all worldly attachments. At the sacred hour of Brahma Muhurta, before dawn, sit by the river and chant the mantra of Matara. Offer water to the Shivalinga and surrender yourself completely. Only when the fire of devotion burns away your impurities will you be freed. Sushanto, humbled and grateful, fell at his Guru's feet once more. I will do as you say, Gurudev. I have learned my lesson. Never again will I misuse the sacred knowledge of Tantra. Mahaguru Sadhak Bamakhepa closed his eyes and whispered an ancient prayer invoking divine protection for the misguided soul before him. The storm outside seemed to quieten as if bowing to the wisdom of the Siddha Yogi. As Sushanto left the cremation ground, his heart was still heavy with the burden of his past, but he now carried a flicker of hope, the guiding light of true Tantra, not for power or control, but for liberation and divine grace. And from that night onward, the whispering shadows never returned. Final words of wisdom as Bamakhyapa watched his disciple disappear into the distance, he murmured softly to himself, Tantra is not meant for those who seek control over the world, but for those who seek to surrender themselves to the divine. Jai Ma Tara. Jai Jai Tara.